Hi everyone, and today we'll talk about best meta build in Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut Edition. So in this game, stealth is one of the best tactics available in general. So yeah, of course you can make different builds like melee builds or range builds, but stealth build is one of the best builds, by the way, in the game, and it's the easiest build to play through the game, even on the highest difficulty. So yeah, today we'll talk about stealth build, but don't worry if you don't like stealth, it's still very easy build to play with. It's nothing difficult to play with this build, and later I will do different builds on Ghost of Tsushima. It's just one of the first and one of the most efficient builds for you to play right now and to understand what you want to play with if you want to be stealthy. So what I'm using, of course I'm playing New Game Plus, but still I'm using Ghost Armor because it's reducing enemy detection speed by 50%. It's a very nice piece of gear, one of the best for stealth playstyle. Also, I'm reducing my number of kills needed to enter the Ghost stance by 2% because Ghost stance is like Basim's ultimate from Assassin's Creed Mirage, when you simply can one-shot enemies, even high target enemies with lots of health. So yeah, Ghost stance is one of the best skills in the game, by the way. Also, kills have 30% chance to terrify a nearby enemy. Also, very powerful perk, and we'll talk about it a little bit later, about terrifying enemies with one of our upgrades in our armor. So keep this in mind, that we have 40% chance to terrify a nearby enemies simply from our armor. What I'm using next, I'm using different charms, and in terms of charms, I'm using, of course, charm of Azumi no Isora. Sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong, I'm just pronouncing like I'm reading it right here. So my arrows are silent on impact, so I can play stealthy even with my arrows, even with my different bows. Also, I'm using charm of Nori no Mikota, that's keeping me hidden even when I'm assassinating enemies from grass. Also, I'm using Charm of Shadows, two types, because they're stuck in reduces enemy detection speed by 10% and 20% in general with two charms. And also, I'm using Charm of Silence, so I'm reducing enemies detection speed by 15% and increasing resolve, gaining by a massive amount. Very powerful charm. And the last charm is flex spot, so you can easily swap it to other charms. I will talk about charms you can use instead a little bit later. But what I'm using currently, I'm using charm of fortune tier 2, because it's what it's giving us affects with percent stance to occur are 50% more likely to occur. What does this mean? It means, for example, we are using Ghost Armor and we have a 40% chance to terrify a nearby enemy with skills. Even if we are not, even if we are detected, you still can kill an enemy and terrify nearby enemies. So with this charm, you are increasing its chance by 50%, and now you have 90% chance to terrify nearby enemies simply with skills. And what's more important, of course, we are using. You need all skills to be upgraded by the end of the game. You have enough skill points to learn everything, because everything is so important and so nice to. And all the skills are very powerful to use. So also you have different gadgets, different ghost weapons. You can use different weapons like kunais or smoke bombs. It's also healing you with the last upgrade. Also very powerful, especially if you are not stealthy. If enemies detecting you, you can simply use healing. You can use your smoke bomb to get away, and also to heal yourself if you get any pressure. And also kunais also have a very high one-shot potency. But also in the skills you need to upgrade your horse charge, because sometimes you need to approach your enemies face to face, and sometimes you can't play stealthy. So in this way, you are using your 90% fear from your charm and from your armor to fear your enemies. And also when striking an enemy with a horse charge, the impact has a 25% chance to terrify nearby enemies. And due to the charm we've been talking about a few minutes later, you also increasing its effects, and you have not only 25% to terrify enemies from horse charge, but 75% to terrify enemies. So you literally terrifying enemies all over the time, and it's much easier for you to play stealthy to get away from enemies that detecting you. And also, in addition to that, you can change if you don't want to play 100% stealthy, and if you don't want this getaway, you can use different charms. As I already told you, Charm of Fortune Tier 2, it's a flex spot, so you can swap it to, for example, Hidden Sight. Enemies stop hunting you for 40% faster if you want to be even more stealthy. And also a very, very nice thing to be more stealthy, it's reducing Charm of Shadows, it's reducing enemies detection speed by 10%, also helping you a lot to get away from enemies and to play even more stealthy. But again, as I told you, if you don't want to be 100% stealthy, you can use, for example, Charm of Unyielding Tier 2. Majorly reduces damage taken while at 50% health or less. So you can play, for example, 70% stealth and 30% face-to-face approach. So it's helping you a lot in battles, even in some face-to-face approaches that you need to play through in main storyline. I'm swapping Fortune Tier 2 to Unyielding Tier 2. It's helping you a lot. It's a very strong charm or glyph that's helping you a lot in different ways. And in terms of techniques, of course, you need to swap techniques if you want to, especially if you play in high difficulty against shieldmans and against brutes, for example, because brutes they're really, really hard enemies to hit and to break there and to kill, especially end game and even mid game if you are playing highest difficulty or hard difficulty. But in terms of regular play, when you're simply just playing around the world and when you're just discovering different things and exploring the world, or for example, if you're playing medium or low difficulty, one stance is more than enough to break guards, to break everything. And for regular play, I really suggest you playing win stance mostly, because what it's giving you, it's helping you to automatically parry spear attacks during any win stance attacks. So I suggest you to play most of the time on any difficulty in win stance, because it's so powerful. Because at least, for example, in my experience, spearmen, they're doing the most damage, and it's really, especially if you are new to this game, if you're new to this parry all the time system, it's difficult. It can be difficult for you to parry spearman's attacks, especially if you are fighting against not one enemy but a crowd of enemies. And also, enemies thrown by a Typhon Kick are knocked down. What does this mean? You have this very wonderful technique, Typhon Kick finisher, so you can use it all the time against different enemies to knock them down, and also it's giving you a very big advantage against different enemies. Against any enemy, by the way, in the game, especially if you are playing low or medium difficulty. If you don't want to play high difficulty to have this to play this high samurai difficult fantasy. Alright, so by the way, it's everything you need for this build. It's a very powerful build, a wonderful, really nice build that's helping you a lot through all the possible situations you can find yourself in the game. So if you want to play stealthy, definitely try this build. But few words I want to talk about whole situation about Ghost of Tsushima release in general. I don't understand why Sony is doing this whole shit show as they're doing it currently right now, because it's a wonderful game. It's a really nice game with a nice story, with awesome gameplay, different awesome gameplay mechanics, and it's a very strange thing that Sony is trying to do currently with Ghost of Tsushima release on PC and Helldivers whole situation when they're trying to force this game to be connected to PlayStation Network, because this game is not available in 180 countries to buy, and same situation with Helldivers. I guess Sony wants us to play this game, and they want us to buy PlayStation subscription to what? To make paid multiplayer on PC? But it's not how it's working. Microsoft tried to do with my games for Windows Live the paid multiplayer, and it's not working. They closed its initiative because it's simply not how it's working with Steam, with Epic Games Store, even despite it's not a very popular store right now. And what Sony is trying to do, it's very strange because it's quite obvious it's not working, especially on PC, because this game it's not available even in some European countries, in lots of European countries. And I'm not talking about other countries like, for example, African countries, etc., because it's a really nice game, and it's mostly it's single player offline game. You are playing simply for yourself. I don't think a lot of people will play buying this game for playing for trying Legends mods. Yes, it's nice mod, but come on, lots of you just buying this game and simply just to play story, because story it's really nice story. It's a really nice game, even with a very high build potency and a really strong gameplay core. So yeah, it's definitely a nice game. I hope much more of you can try this game later. I hope something will change, because nowadays, yeah, it's very difficult to get this game. So if you are not living in these several countries this game available in, because as I already told you, in 180 countries, if I remember correctly, this game is not available even to buy. It's very strange, it's a very idiotic decision by Sony, so let's hope something will change. And again, thank you guys a lot for watching this video. Don't forget to click like button and subscribe button if you want more videos like this, different guides, different builds. Stay tuned for more builds on Ghost of Tsushima. I guess I will make different melee builds and range builds. And as always, I'll see you in the next video. Good luck.